This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lauren Casey. Thanks for joining us here on the News at Noon. Todd Clausen is working from home this midday. And Todd, I've been working inside. I haven't even really stepped out the door since I came in this morning, but I know you've been saying it's a hot, sticky day, and that is kind of lasting throughout our work week. But what can people expect for their lunch hour?
Yeah, you know, it's really muggy once again across the area, Lauren. A little more in the way of cloud cover today compared to yesterday, and that's keeping the temperatures down a little bit at this noon hour compared to where they were 24 hours ago. Yesterday, we were around 85 degrees by the noon hour, up to 83 now, so it's not a huge difference, 83, and then you see some areas that are still in the 70s, and that's just because they have more in the way of clouds, and also potentially an isolated shower or two. Here's a live look outside, and you can see there's not much movement there on the American flag, and we have all that haze currently across the area, which is the humidity that is present. Most of the storm action right now is still off to our west, and that big cluster of rain is going to miss us for the most part. But because we have the heat, because we have the humidity, I do think there'll be some isolated storms that flare up throughout the afternoon and evening hours. Nothing severe, but some lightning and heavy downpours will be possible. I do not think, though, they will be as numerous as they were yesterday. So keep an eye on radar here this afternoon, but it's definitely not a washout. Temperatures anywhere from about 85 to 90 degrees for your afternoon highs. We'll talk more about the changes that occur in good and bad ways for the remainder of the week in just a few minutes. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you. Metro Police continue to investigate two overnight shootings. One of them happened just before 1 o'clock this morning near East 10th Street and North Grant Avenue. The victim says that he was walking down 10th Street when shots were fired from a passing vehicle. Police tell us the victim was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Less than an hour earlier, officers were called out to 28th and Sherman for a person shot. The victim in this case says that he was standing on his front porch and says he was shot when he turned to go inside. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Now to new numbers on COVID-19. They're just in from the state health department. 16 new deaths were added to the state's total, along with 385 new positive tests for COVID-19. There's been an increase in the number of people being treated in the state's hospitals for the coronavirus. It's now up to 695. That's an increase of 100 patients from just 2 days ago, but still well off the higher numbers of patients that the state saw last April and May. Parts of Mass Ave have been closed to traffic for just over a month now to help promote outdoor dining during the pandemic. And city leaders tell us they've gotten positive feedback about the pedestrian-friendly setup. So is this street closure something that could be a permanent setup? Our Alyssa Donovan takes a look.
The closure has been great for some business owners, specifically restaurant owners, who have been able to spread their seating out into the streets. But for others, it's actually added to the struggle that started with the pandemic.
City leaders say initially there was a bit of an uproar about the closure of the major thoroughfare to traffic, but now they say that's changed. For restaurants like Mass Ave Pub, the street closure has allowed business to ramp back up. Owner Tracy Robertson says prior to the street closure, the pub was just offering carry-out. Since adding the outdoor seating, Robertson says sales have tripled.
It was a game changer.
But she knows eliminating traffic and parking has not been as positive for some of her neighbors on the avenue. Down the street, owner of the shop Decorate says it's been hard for business having the streets closed. People can't get to her store. The mixed reaction of the street closure is why city leaders say many more conversations would have to happen for the closure to become any sort of permanent.
Possibility has been floated around to doing this full time. It's been floated that we do it just during the summer. It's been floated that we do it just on weekends. When we're not faced with a global pandemic, we'll be able to have very long, engaged conversations with not just city people, but with community people, with merchants.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
And those streets set to reopen after the 4th holiday. Of course, we'll keep you updated. As thousands remain out of work during this pandemic, Amazon will soon be hiring Hoosiers down in Johnson County. Amazon has officially announced it's bringing another fulfillment center to Whiteland. The company has not said how many jobs it will create, but it's expected to be similar to the fulfillment center that you see here that opened in Greenwood last year. Amazon's new fulfillment center will be at the Whiteland Exchange Business Park that's just off I-65 near Whiteland Road. Are you ready to walk with the dinosaurs or take a ride on the carousel? New this midday, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis announcing its reopening to the public. Museum officials say they'll reopen on July 11th with limited capacity. In order to keep visitors safe, you'll have to buy a ticket in advance. Museum officials say they've added safety measures such as increased cleanings. You'll also have to wear a mask when you're at the museum. In order to maintain social distancing, museum officials say some exhibits will remain closed. President Trump has denied the reports, but others in the White House are deflecting questions on whether Russia offered bounties to the Taliban to kill U.S. and other coalition troops in Afghanistan. New reports out today show the president was made aware of the bounties as far back as last year. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has more.
There are new questions about who knew what and when after bombshell news reports alleging the Russian military has been offering the Taliban bounties to kill U.S. and coalition troops in Afghanistan. Overnight, the Associated Press reporting the White House was aware of the intelligence back in March of 2019, and the New York Times saying that in February of 2020, the Russian bounty information was included in the president's daily brief, a book of important intelligence details. House Democrats demanding a response.
Nothing in the briefing that we have just received led me to believe it is a hoax.
The White House continues to maintain the president was not informed of the intelligence and that he still has not been briefed, even as the story has come to light.
He was not personally briefed on the matter.
Last year, 23 U.S. service members were killed in Afghanistan. Whether any were at the hands of Taliban fighters paid by Russian operatives is not known. The Trump administration, meanwhile, calling into question the credibility of the claims.
There was not a consensus among the intelligence community. And in fact, there were dissenting opinions within the intelligence community, and it would not be elevated to the president until it was verified.
An unverified intelligence gets put in front of presidents all the time. It's the nature of intelligence.
Families want answers. The AP reports that officials are focused on an April 2019 attack on an American convoy where 3 U.S. Marines were killed. The father of one of them says even a rumor of Russian bounties should have been immediately addressed. If this was swept under the carpet as to not make it a bigger issue with Russia, I lost all respect for this administration. In an unusual move, the administration only chose to brief a handful of Republicans yesterday, and it's unclear why the administration chose to conduct partisan briefings. Russia, meanwhile, denies all allegations. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
One of the biggest stars of all time in comedy is gone. Next, a brief look at his life and just a little of what he gave to the rest of the world. Todd.
And Lauren, as we go into the afternoon hours, there will be the potential once again for some heavy downpours, a little bit of lightning, but no severe weather. Most of the rain is still off to our west right now. I'll let you know if that builds in, and we'll also look ahead to your 4th of July weekend forecast coming up when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
On ABC.
My favorite show.
Through early morning fog I see visions of the things to be, the pains that are withheld for me, I realize and I can see.
Well, it was instantly recognizable for an entire generation. The theme from the movie and TV show MASH was best known for the work of the composer and arranger Johnny Mandel. He famously thought the song was a bad fit for the movie, but director Robert Altman played it over the opening scene, and the rest was history. In addition to scoring many other movies, Mandel also wrote the 1965 standard, The Shadow of Your Smile, which won both an Oscar and a Grammy for Best Song. We learned today that Johnny Mandel died last night. He was 94 years old.
You ever see me without my hair?
Well, a couple of times. Remember the time on your boat when you fell overboard?
You bumped into me.
No, you tripped over Rob.
You hear that, fellas? The whole family's after me.
Well, he had been one of the elder statesmen of comedy for years, but Carl Reiner had been a legend for decades. He became a star during the early years of television as a writer and performer on Your Show of Shows, and that's where he met his lifelong best friend and another comedy legend, Mel Brooks. Reiner went on to help create the Dick Van Dyke Show. He also directed many movies, including the Steve Martin classic, The Jerk. And he was prolific on Twitter right up until his last day. His assistant says Carl Reiner died last night of natural causes at his home in Beverly Hills. He was 98 years old. It looked as if their time was up, but this flock in Carmel has a new lease on life, at least for now. Coming up, the latest on the battle over whether these geese should go. And let's take a live look outside right now from our Weather Now camera here overlooking the Circle City. Todd Clausen is going to break down our forecast, the chance of seeing any showers or storms, and how warm it's going to get today. That's coming up here on the News at Noon. Stay with us.
800-850-5054.
A reminder, today is the last day you can hold your cell phone while driving, so you may just want to put it down anyways. The new state laws go into effect tomorrow. That includes the hands-free driving law. That means while you're driving, you will only be allowed to use your phone with hands-free or voice-operated technology. You will be allowed to hold your phone and use your phone in an emergency. Well, the debate continues over what to do with dozens of geese that were supposed to be euthanized up in Carmel. After RTV6 first brought you the story, our own Troy Washington tells us she found out the Homeowners Association does not have permission to follow through with their plan.
WRTV told you about these geese and the Homeowners Association's vote to euthanize them. Dozens of people emailed us and called us about them, some in a hurry to save them and others in a rush to see them gone.
The bottom line is if it has to be done, that the geese are removed, why slaughter them?
We wanted to hear from the HOA to get their side of the story, but we tried several times to get a response. They keep telling us they will respond, but have not given us an interview or statement about the situation.
In the scheme of things, with everything that's going on in this world, COVID, people being killed in the streets, are these geese really the biggest issue for us to be dealing with?
Barbara DeSimone has been living in Lexington Farms for a long time, and as long as she can remember, these geese have always been around, but now they're in danger of disappearing. Since this is such a major issue for the residents of Lexington Farms, and many people care deeply what happens to the geese, we checked with the Department of Natural Resources to see if the geese could even be killed. According to DNR, the HOA has not received their permission, nor have they even put in a request for such a permit. So for now, it looks like the geese are safe.
We're going to be having a board meeting on July 9th, and they said that hopefully this is going to be something that's going to be up for discussion, which we know. Someone had mentioned possibility of a goose committee.
Working for you in Carmel, Troy Washington, RTV6.
All right, time now for a check of our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home, and Todd, probably a good place to be all this week would be somewhere near the water, maybe a pool or somewhere else. Make sure you hydrate because it's going to be hot out there.
Yeah, you know, and humid, so drink plenty of water. You mentioned the bodies of water, whether it's a pool, a lake, stay hydrated. But if some storms flare up, which is a possibility here this afternoon, make sure you go inside, especially if you hear that thunder, you see lightning off in the distance. Throughout the course of the rest of the day, rain chances only about 20 to 30%, so they're not great rain chances going forward throughout the day. But we are starting to see a few isolated downpours flare up where we have some hazy sunshine. So let me zoom in for you, and you can see this is a hour and a half to 2 hour loop, and you can see with the sunshine near Newcastle, just south of there, and also near Connorsville, an isolated downpour is starting to flare up. Not expecting any severe weather here throughout the day today, and not expecting that big cluster of rain and thunderstorms as you see off to our west to make it here into central Indiana. That'll kind of rain itself out. All our rain chances throughout the remainder of the day will be these isolated thunderstorms purely developing with the heat and humidity that we have around. Very similar to yesterday in the way that they'll form and how they'll move kind of slow, but not like yesterday in the coverage of these storms. They should be less numerous, but if you get under one of these downpours, you're going to pick up quite a bit of rainfall in a short period of time. Don't worry about severe weather. That is not in the cards for the day today. Thankfully, this will just be mainly a rain event. And if you do see any of those storms, there could be a little bit of lightning mixed in as well. Temperatures are in the 70s and 80s this afternoon. Now it's very warm. It's very muggy. High temperatures today will be anywhere between about 85 and 90 degrees. If you remain dry with some sunshine, you get close to that 90-degree mark. If you have more clouds and better shower chances, you'll be a little closer to that 85-degree mark. So it's about a 30% chance today and tomorrow. And then as we enter the holiday weekend, it's only a stray Ray, 20% chance of an isolated storm. And honestly, I may be able to take that out of the forecast. So that's good news if you do have holiday plans. Tomorrow, we're up to about 88 to 89 degrees once again. And there will be the chance of some isolated downpours flaring up with that 30% chance I mentioned. Just like this afternoon, they should fade with sunset. And then once we get past tomorrow, we are in pretty good shape in the sense of the rain impacting your holiday forecast. That diminishes, but what comes up is the heat. Temperatures will be back up into the low 90s, it looks like, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that'll continue into Monday as well. But if you do have outdoor plans for the holiday weekend, Lauren, I think the heat and maybe some humidity that's going to be around is going to be the bigger issue rather than the 20% chance of storms. 20% chance of storms, that's just a hit or miss storm here or there, nothing really to worry about.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We do want to get to some breaking news just into our newsroom. A traffic alert, as you can see on the right side of your screen. This is a live look at I-465 over on the east side, a little north of the interchange with I-70. You can see the northbound lanes. Those are closed right now due to a serious crash. We are learning this is a reported pedestrian struck, and traffic behind this closure is stopped. You can expect some major delays in this area, and we'll continue to monitor this in case maybe they let one lane of traffic through here. It looks like we do have a little bit of movement, maybe getting those folks out of there. So get off the northbound interstate, maybe use Shadeland Avenue as a detour. You can get off at Washington Street as well. We will continue to follow this and keep you updated on the RTV6 app throughout the day. Well, you can buy just about anything online these days, and that includes products that most people like to take out for a test drive before buying in the past. Well, Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau says if you are shopping for your next vehicle online, there's one website where you might need to stop and look both ways before you buy.
Yeah, what we've seen, there has been an increase in online auto sales, and we've been alerted about a particular online company called RCS. What they have done is they've actually taken the name and the website from a company that was a legitimate company but is now defunct, and we're getting just a lot of reports on this RCS website out there that people are buying very expensive vehicles, and a lot of times these are RV homes, campers, that type of thing, very expensive types of vehicles out there. And it's just a scam out there where the website and the vehicles and things like that don't actually exist. So we want to make certain that people, number one, take a lot of precautions when you are shopping for anything, particularly such a big ticket item such as a vehicle. Check them out. One of the things you want to make certain is that on the URL line it says HTTPS. S is the important word there. Before you actually put in the name of the company or what have you that you're trying to search for. When it comes up, it should say HTTPS on it. But once again, check them out. Make certain that you've got some references. And if you're going to give them any money up front, you want to make certain that they're legit, because a lot of these companies can get online, they can look real, they can have very good looking websites, but the vehicles just simply don't exist.
Tim, thank you. When we come back, it's time for our Pet of the Week, and we want to introduce you to Missy and see if you can make her part of your family. That's coming up when we get back. Well, it's Tuesday, and it means it's time for our Pet of the Week. And today we want to introduce you to Missy. She's 9 years old, and she arrived at Indy Humane as a puppy and was adopted, but unfortunately found her back at the shelter as a stray this spring. Missy loves walks, hikes, playing with squeaky toys. She also enjoys naps and snuggles on the couch. Her adoption fee is just $160, and if you can make it to the Indy Humane today, you can make an appointment and meet her. All right, Todd, maybe you want to take the dog out for a walk. What would be a good time today?
It's going to be warm and humid. Make sure you have plenty of water and some water for your pup as well once you get back to the house. Just spot storms in the forecast today and tomorrow. Storm chances decrease heading into the holiday weekend.
All right, Todd, thanks, and thank you for joining us and making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope you have a great Tuesday.